Hello, welcome back to the channel. We are on episode 23 or 24 I think. The Chinese Grand Prix on the development centre. We are now the second best car according to the index. You can see a little bit of a spike above Mercedes on the bottom graph there. Getting better on the chassis side of things. Got a few upgrades for this race. Both of them passed the test. Aerodynamically, we are definitely still top, which is good to see. And on the power unit side, we've still got a bit of development to do there, so we're a bit slow on the straights. For the race, we're expecting 80% chance of rain. That could really uncouple what we've got planned. Hopefully it's not too bad and we can make it through and maybe get something out of this race. Definitely struggled through practice. George Russell was quickest in second practice, which was a bit of a surprise in the Williams. But I think there could be a few underdog shouts here for the win. But like I say, Red Bull still on course to win. Now I'll hand you over for qualifying.
China, for what I've no doubt is going to be a fantastic F1 qualifying session.
Tucked up behind the Mercedes for our first banker lap. Decided to do something a little bit different here and only go out for 2 runs, maybe save a set of tyres for the race. You see here we start the lap. Turn 1 struggled with, trying to carry as much speed, but it tightens. Trying to find the right gear for the second part and getting the best drive traction wise out of the corner for the run down to the hairpin. Now this is the end of the lap, hoping for a decent result. Like I say, we've got a car that could challenge for the title now. And we come across the line, puts us P2 behind Lewis, but then again a lot of cars haven't been out yet. On board with Lando Norris. Let's see what my teammate can do through the final corner. Comes up across the line, activates DRS. Puts it provisional pole position. Now that was a surprise. I've kind of had the measure of Lando this season and last season, so pressure on for the final run. Going out a little bit earlier than everybody else. I thought, 5 minutes to go, let's set the lap now and give something for everyone to try and beat. So trying to set the car up for the best run, putting everything in lean and low ERS mode. Try and build up some tyre temperature.
Lando sitting in pole. He's in pole
Jeff
position.
casually reminding me that we are outside that pole position shot at the moment. P8. So here we go. Starting the lap. We're up. That's good news. Again, trying to carry as much speed as possible through the first corner. Run out a little bit too wide. Down the gears. Now into the fast left. Then right. And a double left-hander. Again, we're up, we're green, that's good news. Very good news for us at the moment. Try and keep it steady. And to the final part of the track. A little lock up. It's going to cost us a little bit of time. Into the final corner, chuck it in, hope for the best, get good traction, activate DRS, and across the line, that's pole position. Above Lando Norris. Let's see where we are in the race day.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3 mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles an hour, with DRS assisting the cars down the back straight before they brake into the sharp hairpin at turn 14.
So here we are for the Chinese Grand Prix on the grid. Verstappen currently leads the championship, as we know. Not a bad qualifying lap for myself, I was quite happy with it. But as you probably saw from the previous clip, we're not actually pole position. Lando Norris picks up P3 and this is the full run down of the grid. Lewis takes pole by a fraction over ourselves, and then Lando Norris P3, Max in P4, and Devon Butler. The Red Bulls are lower than expected, Ferrari about where they need to be. And I think those were the only really standouts from qualifying. Renault have a pretty poor car this year, so unsurprisingly they're towards the bottom. I'll hand you over to the race.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch.
We are go in China. I've had a not a too bad start actually. Lando's had a bit of a shocker off the line, but we've gone cautious into turn 1 in the Red Bull. Our teammates both mugged us around the outside, but we've come back up the inside. Got a bit of a tank slapper on. I think we made contact with Verstappen there. Lost the front end, but we managed to tuck back into 4th place. Down 2 positions off the start. Not ideal, but could have been a lot worse. Gone deep into the hairpin. Not to worry, we've caught our teammate on lap 3, all over the back of Lando. But didn't want to make a move because I didn't want to create an accident or anything and take both of us out of the race. Gone deep into the hairpin and spots of rain have begun to appear on the visor. It gets tricky at this point because you don't quite know how much grip is available to you. As track temperature begins to drop, and you can visibly start to see the rain droplets falling on the circuit.
The track conditions aren't improving. It's your choice as to whether you want to fit the wets next time you come in. Some information on Gasly. They are out of the race.
It's a difficult call to choose what tyres you're on, but I felt quite confident. We were quick. Like I say, we're on the back of our teammate. Lando didn't have the confidence by the looks of things, but the AI really start to get going in the wet conditions when it begins to suit them a little bit better. Oh, big tank slap.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some signs of abrasion on your tyres now. They should still be good to run on, but they won't be at their best.
Yep, so there's Jeff confirming the tyres are beginning to go off the cliff. It's always difficult when you've got to balance that and the wet weather itself. Valtteri Bottas goes up the inside and takes the position. We try and give them as much space as possible and end up going off the racetrack, which leaves us vulnerable to the Red Bull of Devon Butler, who also gets through. Very unfortunate there. Again, more traction issues. Lando pits, the 2 guys in front also pit, but we stay out.
Lando is coming in for a stop.
Because of Lando's pit stop, the team told me to stay out an extra lap, which was disastrous for us. We just had no pace. Losing seconds. Carlos Sainz was even able to close up in the Ferrari. The tyres have gone.
Some information on Norris. They seem to have an issue.
And we let Carlos Sainz through, who also locks up going into the final hairpin. Yeah, I thought it was the safest thing probably to let the Ferrari through. Obviously we both lock up and nearly take each other out of the race there. So shortly after that we box for the intermediate tyres. There goes our teammate. Lost a lot of time.
Trailing our teammate by 11.7 seconds.
But once the intermediate tyres were on, felt some confidence, felt some speed. Was able to catch Carlos, stay with Carlos and catch the train in front, which was headed by Lando. So we had the pace over Lando in the intermediate section of the Grand Prix. As you can see, we're kind of all
They're speeding up again, so I expect they've fixed whatever the problem
bottled
was.
up behind my teammate. But like I say, his issue's now gone away and they've found a way to rectify it. A really good traction zone, but it's all gone away with a bit of water.
Fuel is looking really good. You're managing it well.
Carlos tries to go up the inside. I lose the back end halfway through the corner. It's all kicking off this Chinese Grand Prix. Towards the end of that lap, these two have been battling all the way through the lap. We get much better traction this time round. DRS isn't open.
If you think you can get past, increase ERS deployment to overtake.
DRS isn't open obviously because of the wet conditions, so we cut straight.
The track's drying. The track is drying. Let us know when it's time
So
for
we cut
slicks.
straight back across. Again, losing the back end halfway through the corner. And it is time for slicks, so we box. We had a strategy call as well from Jeff saying the best strategy at this point would be to go onto the soft tyre. So we stacked behind our teammates. I didn't have the same situation as before where we're out for the extra lap and lose those seconds out there.
Exit now. We're trailing our teammate by 4.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in sick. The time last lap was a 1 minute 42.6.
So it was at this point I realised that I might have been a little bit screwed over by the team. I expected the soft tyre to kind of run to the end, that's why they put me on it. But then once I'd realised Carlos Sainz was on the medium and Lando was also put onto the medium, that it wasn't the best strategy. Because we couldn't make the tyres last, so then I decided to pit for a set of medium tyres. Give myself the best shot of getting to the end of the Grand Prix.
Come on, mate, you can do it. It's been a tough race, but I know you're capable of getting more out of that car today. Dig deep. Give us the best of your
And then to
talent.
kind of get that radio message from Jeff towards the end of the Grand Prix with what, 7 laps to go, 5 to 7 laps to go, was just a little
This is your final lap. Final lap
a little
of the
bit of a
race.
kick in the teeth. We're P10, our teammate's somewhere up the road. At this point I didn't actually know where, but it wasn't a fun Grand Prix in the end. I feel like we probably had the pace to win, or at least get a podium, but it just didn't happen. Through the final corner, on the traction zone, and across the line for P10.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they can do both.
Starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So, to confirm the final classifications, Hamilton did win the race, Verstappen second, and Lando Norris third. So we could have been somewhere between second to fourth in that race, which would have been really great for our championship, but wasn't to be. We picked up 1 point in P10. Yeah, wasn't great, to be honest, especially with the potential that was in the car. With Gasly obviously rounding out the rear, not finishing. The championship, we are in 10th on 11 points. Like I say, not fantastic. Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, looks like it could be a good fight for second with Leclerc. That was fairly unexpected. The Racing Point seems like it's a fairly good package, but again, Red Bull look like they have the pace to maybe win this championship, and that's confirmed with their 2 race wins. Mercedes second, and then Racing Point third. Interesting season, round 3 Chinese Grand Prix, but I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.